top stories of the day. Understand the issues that matter. This is Manila Bulletin News on Web. Your quick rundown of top news in the country and around the world. Manila Bulletin, celebrating 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. Be fully informed. Hi, I'm Barbie Atienza. This is MB Now, and here are your news on web. Metro Manila, or the National Capital Region, will remain under general community quarantine for the month of December, President Duterte announced Monday night amid fresh appeals to observe health standards to curb the spread of the new coronavirus disease. In a televised address, the President also placed 7 other areas under GCQ from December 1 to 31, namely Batangas, Iloilo City, Tacloban City, Lanao del Sur, Iligan City, Davao City, and Davao del Norte. The rest of the country will remain under modified general community quarantine, the least restrictive of the government's lockdown levels. In his remarks, the President appealed to the top public to continue to comply with health protocols such as wearing of masks, frequent washing of hands, and safe physical distancing to prevent a sudden surge in infections in the country.
Now, let me remind you that Europe and America are experiencing what they would call, some say, the third wave na pagbalik. Mas marami ang nagkasakit ngayon at namatay. This is a country which is rich, na dapat may bakuna na can afford it, and yet maraming nagkakasakit, namatay for the simple reason matigas ang ulo, ayaw .
Experts monitoring the pandemic situation in the country said COVID-19 cases in the Philippines may reach a peak of 500,000 by year's end should the rate of transmission continue to rise. In its latest monitoring report, the Octa research team said an estimate of at least 470,000 up to 500,000 total cases are expected by December 31 based on the current COVID-19 trend in the country. Based on the group's report, it showed that the reproduction number of cases in the Philippines increased to 0.88 from November 22 to 28 from the previous 0.85 recorded from November 14 to 20. Despite the slight increase, the research team emphasized that the reproduction rate is below 1, which indicated a downward trend in the new cases. According to Octa researcher Dr. Guido David, it is still uncertain if the current uptick is the number of cases in the country in the past weeks will further increase or will start to go down due to several factors affecting the country's testing capacity. David emphasized, however, that the public should now become cautious about whether or not the uptick in the number of cases will continue in the coming weeks. With the gradual easing of quarantine protocols, Department of Interior and Local Government Secretary Eduardo Año said that the gradual expansion of the age groups allowed to go out of their homes and enter the malls will push through this Christmas season, provided that they are accompanied by their parents. In a briefing with President Duterte on Monday night, Año said that allowing minors to leave their residence in the midst of the pandemic will be based on the guidelines of the ordinances imposed by the Metro Manila mayors and other areas placed under the general community quarantine. Earlier, reports said minors aged 15 years and below were recommended to be allowed to go outdoors with the condition of being accompanied by an adult. As restrictions are relaxed, Año still discouraged the public from holding any form of mass gatherings like family reunions this holiday season, as they may cause disastrous results, specifically in the spike of COVID-19. Año added that Christmas parties and the traditional caroling are banned this year as the country continues its uphill battle against the virus. The Makabayan Bloc, Bayan, Gabriela, and other groups have been branded by President Rodrigo Duterte as legal fronts of the local Communist Party, CPP-NPA. During this televised address, the President clarified that they are not red tagging them as they are truly posing as front organizations. Our Malacanang senior news correspondent, Jen Kabiling, has the details.
President Duterte has branded the Makabayan Bloc, Bayan, Gabriela as among the legal fronts of the local Communist Party, alleging they are involved in a grand conspiracy to bring down the government. The president explained that the government was not red tagging these groups, but actually identifying them as front organizations of the Communist Party of the Philippines, New People's Army. He said the communists have engaged in sheer brutality in the communal war, insisting they were no longer fighting for an ideology.
Hindi yan sila, we are not red tagging you. We are identifying you as members in a grand conspiracy comprising all the legal fronts that they have organized, headed by NDF. Ilang tao na nagaling doon sa inyong camp that openly have attacked you, not only criticize for your sheer brutality in this communal war. Communal war ito, there is no longer any ideology.
Duterte also belittled the competence of communist leader Jose Maria Sison, currently living in exile in the Netherlands. He also took a swipe at Bayan Muna Party List Representative Carlos Zarate in the same national address.
Sino ang mga bride? Si Sison? Yun yung bride si Sison? Sus Mariusep. Iharap mo si Sison sa akin, magdebate kami. Ano nakuha mo dyan sa ideology na communism? Alam ko, sabihin ko, ngailangan ka ng pera. That's the only reason. Komunista ka to defend an oligarch. Hindi ka naman summa cum laude. Pareho naman tayo pumasa ng bar. Alam mo sa totoo, Sarate, pag nakita kita sa TV, para akong nakakita ng tae ng iro. Para akong nakakita ng tae ng aso. Totoo lang.
The Makabayan lawmakers recently denied being members of the CPP-NPA and engaging in the recruitment of potential fighters in the armed struggle. The group, however, refused to openly call the rebels as enemies of the state and condemn their atrocities. For MB Now, this is Jen Kabiling reporting.
In Metro News, Paskuhan sa Maynila opens today. Pateros bans caroling, big parties, and solicitation this Christmas season. And pamaskong handog, bags will be delivered to homes according to Pasig City Mayor Vico Soto. More from this report.
As part of the city's Christmas celebration, Manila City Village of Lights and Sounds will open to the public starting today. The Paskuhan sa Manila event at Mehan Garden was organized by Manila Bureau of Permits and Department of Tourism, Culture and Arts of Manila in a bid to generate more jobs and help businessmen recover from their losses. The Paskuhan sa Manila will be open to the public from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. According to Bureau of Permits, about 200 jobs will be created as 60 exhibitors will participate in the event that will run until January 2. The project is in line with the directive of Manila Mayor Francisco Moreno Dumagoso to help businesses affected by the pandemic. Pateros Mayor Miguel Ponce III has banned caroling, big parties, and house-to-house solicitation this Christmas season to prevent the spread of the COVID-19. Ponce issued Executive Order No. 32, effective December 1 until January 2. Any violation will merit a 12-hour imprisonment for the first offense, and a case of disobedience will be filed for the second offense. The goods in the Tenggihan will be confiscated by the Pateros municipal government. The Pasig City government will soon start the distribution of pamaskong handog to each family in the city. The distribution of gift bags will be done house to house. Last year, Soto said the city government's effort to clean up its finances has enabled the city to secure 260 million pesos to fill in 400,000 gift bags. With only 24 days before Christmas Day, the mayor urged residents to avoid holding parties and reunions as the threat of COVID-19 still remains.
Here are the top news in other parts of the country. Baguio City ready for interregional bus operations. Bacolod downgraded to MGCQ. And Davao region records 55 new COVID-19 cases. More from this report.
Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong revealed recently that passengers relying on the operation of provincial buses in moving in and out of the city can soon avail of the interregional transport once the LTFRB has given the go signal for the resumption of their operations. For the initial operation of interregional buses, only 4 buses from the approved routes will be allowed to enter the city. The discussion on the possible resumption of interregional bus operations started due to the huge demand for mass public transportation as part of the government's efforts to gradually revive the economy to generate added jobs and spur economic activities. Bacolod City Mayor Evelio Leonardia issued Executive Order No. 73 on Tuesday, reverting the community quarantine status of the city to Modified General Community Quarantine or MGCQ until December 31, 2020. This after President Rodrigo Duterte announced on Monday, declaring some areas including Bacolod under MGCQ. But despite the downgrade of the city's community quarantine status, Leonardia urged the people to continue to observe the health protocols, especially during the holidays. With the MGCQ status, more businesses are allowed to open with 50% capacity and curfew hours may be adjusted in time for the Aguinaldo masses. The Department of Health Davao Center for Health Development reported 55 new cases of COVID-19 and 2 deaths in the region as the month of November ended on Monday. Davao region recorded a total of 9,250 total cases with 2,755 active cases. 6,142 have recovered and 353 fatalities. Meanwhile, Davao City and Davao del Norte will be placed under the General Community Quarantine or GCQ until the end of the year as announced by President Rodrigo Duterte on Monday together with the National Capital Region, Batangas, Iloilo City, Tacloban City, Lanao del Sur, and Iligan City.
The World Health Organization said that they will do everything to find COVID-19 origins. Meteor lights up skies in Japan, and mysterious monolith in U.S. desert reportedly disappears. Let's watch this report.
WHO is committed to do everything it can based on science and solutions to find the origin.
The World Health Organization insisted on Monday it would do everything possible to find the animal origins of COVID-19, insisting that knowledge was vital to preventing future outbreaks. The United States, which with more than 262,000 deaths is the country hardest hit by the pandemic, has been harshly critical of the organization's handling of the crisis and has accused it of kowtowing to China and of dragging its feet on investigating how the outbreak first started. Other critics have also voiced concern that the agency may have allowed China to dictate the terms of an international investigation into the origins of the virus, which first surfaced in the Chinese city of Wuhan late last year. Since then, more than 1.46 million people have died and nearly 63 million have been infected worldwide. A falling meteor has lit up the night skies over western Japan with a dazzling fireball display early hours of Sunday. The meteor could be briefly seen in the skies at 1:35 a.m. before emitting a powerful light. It was caught on cameras owned by the national broadcaster NHK, which generally capture earthquake activity rather than extraterrestrial light shows. Some experts said small fragments of the meteorite might have reached the ground. A mysterious metal monolith found in the remote desert of the western United States, sparking a national guessing game over how it got there, has apparently disappeared, officials say. The Bureau of Land Management in Utah tweets, "We may not know if an extraterrestrial or earthling installed the monolith structure, but we can confirm that it has been taken by an unknown party or parties." The Bureau did not remove the structure, which is considered private property, and said that they do not investigate crimes involving private property, which are handled by the local sheriff's office.
In entertainment, Grammy nominee BTS song Life Goes On debuted at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 list. This is the first Korean song to top the chart in 62 years since it began in 1958. The Idol group's album B Deluxe Edition also debuted at number 1 on Billboard 200. Life Goes On is BTS's third number 1 on the Hot 100 in 3 months. Dynamite debuted at number 1 on the chart last September, followed by a number 1 BTS remix of Josh 685 and Jason Derulo's Savage Love in October. Life Goes On garnered 14.9 million streams and sold 150,000 copies in the week ending on November 26. It also earned 410,000 radio airplay audience impressions in the week ending on November 29. In sports, authorities reinstall a floating monument of the 5 Olympic rings off the shore of Odaiba Marine Park in Tokyo, Japan. The set of giant Olympic rings, weighing 69 tons and measuring 15 by 32 meters, was stowed away for maintenance in August. The coronavirus delayed Tokyo Olympics would cost $1.9 billion more than its original budget of $13 billion, a 15% increase, according to a report on Sunday. The Olympics organizers will formally decide the increased budget for the Games as early as mid-December after communicating with the Japanese government and the host city, Tokyo, the Yomiuri Shimbun reported, citing unnamed Olympic sources. The 2020 Games were pushed back a year as COVID-19 spread around the globe and are now scheduled to open on July 23, 2021. Grandmaster Wesley So crashed reigning world champion Magnus Carlsen's birthday party early Tuesday by clinching the Skilling Open of the Champions Chess Tour held online. The 27-year-old So triumphed in the first of the 2-game blitz playoff and drew the second to win the title over Carlsen, who turned 30 on Monday. The victory earned So $30,000 or 1.5 million pesos. The victory was reminiscent of So's 13.5 to 2.5 conquest of Carlsen ensnaring the Fischer Random World title last year, displaying the Cavite-born's ability to challenge the Norwegian world number 1 player for winning their duel. Last Monday, the Sketchfest 2020 winners have been announced. Each category awarded the top 3 entries that best interpret this year's theme, the resilience of the Filipino. Here, once again, are the winners of the Sketchfest 2020. Let's take a look. The Manila Bulletin Sketchfest 2020 is sponsored by Pioneer Insurance, Your Insurance, the SM Store, Grab Philippines, the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, McDonald's, RJ 100.3 FM, and RJ DGTV. Congratulations to all the winners and the participants of Sketchfest 2020. And those are the news on Web today, December 1, 2020. It's just 24 days before Christmas. For more news and information, get your copy of Manila Bulletin newspaper tomorrow or log on to www.mb.com.ph. Or you may also subscribe to our newsletter through the link on this video's caption to have the day's latest news delivered to your inbox. I am Barbie Atienza for Manila Bulletin, celebrating 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. Join us again tomorrow. This has been MB Now. Be fully informed.